Hi guys. So we're back. Tonight I've got like my winter gear on. We've got our cool socks here. Um, this is one of my favorite Eddie Bauer fleece. I just like to wear it in the house because it's super warm. So I just like lounge around in it. Loungewear. Yay. Um, and I want to talk about I always talk about culture, but I guess it's like my thing. And the reason I talk about culture, it's just because I feel like I live on the brink of a lot of intersections, and so I see a lot of conversations happening that I don't see elsewhere. And I was watching the Daily Wire. They have like a roundtable where they were talking about we actually don't need a community, right? And I guess they were basically well, I haven't seen the whole thing yet, but what I've seen so far, they're talking about um, why virtually they don't need the input of the left in order to make decisions for their family and really like the future generations, and how there are quite a lot of parents who agree with this sentiment and are using it as rationale to move forward with their own lives. um, to an extent, like I understand what they're saying. It makes sense, because um, man, like there's counterculture, and there's also this like push. There's this thing about visibility where some people feel like in order for them to exist, other people, they need the validation of other people. It's very weird. It's like if you look at like Instagram influencers proper, like the reason that they're doing well and the reason that we're all talking about them is because like most of you guys are watching them. But if one day you guys just woke up and you started to be like, oh, I want to live my own life, I care about my own goals, I care about myself, I care about my own existence, well, then everyone would just be out in the world, like with their jobs and communicating with people and having experiences and shit. And it wouldn't just be like me and like, Ben Shapiro or whoever are the other names that you know and followers that you're following in online and in the real world. Like when you're spending a whole bunch of time talking about those people and consuming those people's content, you're like then not living your own life. Now, to an extent, I do realize that there's a lot of like youth, right, who are trying to find themselves, and they're doing that from consuming this media, because I do the same thing. But I don't actually think there's a huge need for people to have. Well, I will say this: if your family actually cares about you, that means your family has already done quite a lot of work to ensure your success. So, like, um, if that's the case, you should probably just go to your family, right, to like figure out what to do. But I think that now we have so many people coming up whose families actually don't really care about them, and so they also have to find places in society, and they have to create lives for themselves where in the past like there was no life for them. And I think that like I think I would say this for those people. I think it's really important for you to just think about what it is that you as an individual want, and then realize and start to like walk. And I'm saying like walk because it's an action step. Like start to walk and take actions and do things that are going in the direction of like what it is that you want to do. So if it's like you want to be a singer, well then go sing, right? Go talk to other singers, go perform, go record, go do that. But then just also realize that like you've been alive for this long, and in order to sustain this life, you need to have a place to live, you need to have food, you need to have money. So have some job that's going to give you that while you continue to move forward with whatever your other goals are. That's basically how adulthood works, right? It's just that some people have advantages because they never have to like think about anything except for like that one linear dream of like music, acting, law, medicine. They just never have to find a regular job because they were so focused, hyper focused on that one path that they never had to veer. But if that's not your case, like that wasn't my case either, it's okay. We veered. You're not dead. Kind of get back on track, right? And pick something, go with it until you find some need or want to change, and then change. But also, I just feel like I don't know why, like we don't have enough people talking about just this regular, like the regular girl, right? The average girl, the basic girl, the girl next door, the normal girl. Not the normal girl is not the OnlyFans girl. The normal girl is not the stripper. Like most people in society are not that. If you're living in a community or if you are around, so this is why sometimes it's very strange to me why so many people relate to the Drake music, because Drake is talking about a very like subculture situation where he was around like poverty clusters in a real sense, or maybe it was like all the people of color that he knew. Like every girl, all the songs are like she's a stripper, she's a thought, she's a this, she's like, so nobody you know is just in like a healthy relationship. That's kind of like nobody you know, like come on, like even I like I live in this, like he lived in a city too, like you always know there are like, all right bro, come on, I'm a pretty average adult, like I've got friends who are married, I've got friends who've got babies, I've got friends who are single, I've got friends who are like fuck boys, fuck girls, like there's a variety, like there isn't just one experience. Like if you are really living an adult life where you only have one experience, and like that's like every song, it's like this girl's a hoe, she's a hoe too, every girl is like complete, it's just like come on, like that's not the way society works. Like look out in society, right? Like the world is simply too expensive for people to be out here hoeing all day. Like you wouldn't be able to survive. Like there's not enough funds to be out here hoeing all day, right? And also, there's way too many stories of baby mama this and baby mama that. Like raising a child, even if y'all want to baby mama culture shit up, there's quite a lot of hours that women, men, whoever's doing the child raising has to spend doing that. So they can't be hoeing that much. There's only 24 hours in a day, okay? Anyway, so shit, let's go back for a second because I did have a point. This is kind of a rant, but I had some points here. So, so I was watching a video yesterday by, I think her name is Stefco, and she was talking about how people seem so problematic of Russell Wilson, Russell Wilson is a very, okay, so he's a football player, and so that's giving him maybe more clout and money. But just in terms of like his values and the way that like he values his wife and the way that he treats his family, he's like a pretty standard American dude. Like if like some people in the black community are looking at Russell Wilson like he's some hero or some shit. He's like a very standard dude. Like most dudes in society are like Russell Wilson, as in like they just care about their families, they care about their wives, they care about their children. If it's a blended family, like in his case, he's in a blended family, they care about all the children who they are now responsible for, and he is like the head of the household. And Sierra is just blending into that norm. That's his wife. It's not really more than that. It's actually very simple. But I just feel like there's just so few of these like standard guys in terms of like black America. Yeah, in terms of like black people in America that women, I feel like a lot of women are just socialized to kind of understand society at a very foundational level just earlier on, and so women just have to get it together. But I feel like men have found all of these really weird ways to like navigate society and believe it's like normal. They've like normalized abnormal behavior to a point where the entire race is just kind of in chaos. And I still feel like this is a black male problem that honestly black males are going to need to solve. I'm simply here for black women to say, like, just escape the chaos. You know, like, there's a lot going on in counterculture. There's a lot. And I think it's time to just eject. Just let it go. Just let it go. It's okay. It's wild out there, but like we don't have to participate. Like we can just not participate, and that can be a thing. And other people can have feelings about it, but black women, you can just choose to preserve yourself, preserve your peace, and just kind of leave it alone because you can. You just be like, I don't want to be a part of that. And then now you've just removed yourself. Now, unfortunately, and I'll go back to this, like in every community, there's always these, undesirable women, right? The ones who are short, they're ugly, they're retarded, they're mentally unfit, whatever we want to say. We could talk about how they're not desirable. And so, these some men don't want to procreate with those women because they're like, we can't do anything with this. This isn't. So, but in the black community, there's actually quite a lot of very attractive black women who don't have mates in American society. This is a thing. And we've talked about this in other videos on why that's so. So, here's what I will say. And this is why I made the other video. Like, you have to have interests outside of men. The problem isn't you. There's social problems that are really out there and that are really happening, but those problems aren't you. And even though people will try to continue to point to you and be like, you are the issue, it's you are the problem. If no one else has said it to you, you're actually not the problem. The society has problems. Counterculture is full of problems. There's a lot of problems. That doesn't mean that, like, it's not you. Like, separate yourself from those problems. Like, I told you guys about my problems. Like, I need to clean my apartment. That is a problem that I have that I will solve. I would like to plan a trip to Germany. That's a problem that I am going to solve. I want to get a job on the Amazon Music data team. That's a problem that I'm going to have to solve. These are the problems that are on my plate currently. There's some other ones, but I do feel like I've gotten a handle on those too. But I'm not taking on all the problems in black society, right? And also, this is another reason why I hope that there are people in black society who are not looking at me to be some, like, hero or some. I don't even think I'm a good role model for really anyone. I just want to be a point of reference for other people to realize, like, yes, Olivia is over there and she exists. And then they can describe the things that I have said, the things that I am doing, their interpretation of what they understand. But they cannot characterize me in ways that, like, they can't talk about things that haven't happened or, or even explain situations in their own words, which are different from what I've described in terms of, like, what I've lived through. Like, I'm telling you guys what my opinions are of experiences that I've had, and you don't have to agree. You can sit over there and then you can be like, this is how I feel, and blah, 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 blah. Like, if you're talking about your own life, good, fine. If you're talking about my life, though, no. Okay. And I guess I do want to go back for a second because not remember, but in other videos, I've briefly talked about this sort of, like, male culture and, like, the male hierarchy, right? So, like, in terms of male society, like, men they do like attractive women. They like them. Straight men like attractive women. All the attractive women, like, men look at attractive women and they're like, that's a very attractive woman. That's what they say, that's how they feel. That's the general sentiment. Obviously, there's more to it than that, but in a very simplified way, straight men feel like, wow, attractive women, great, like, you know what I mean. So that one, the same goes for like Latin attractive women, white attractive women, black attractive women, Asian attractive women. Like, the men in general can say like, oh, that is a very beautiful woman. Okay, so when in the black community they see example, like it's example after example, like, especially because a lot of women who have computers now have these like vlogs, you know, they've got their own YouTube channels, they've got Instagram accounts. You can see these women just out and being beautiful like every day, and it's kind of like, oh wow, okay, so like these women are going to be something in their lives. I mean, they're already something, right? They've got jobs, they've got interests, they've got friends, they've got lunches, they've got music artists that they like, they have journals, some of them have therapists. These women are a part of society. These women are here now, right? And so, you know, questioning men would like to know, like, oh, okay, what's going on in these communities? Like, like, why aren't these women married? Like, why aren't these, where are the men? Because they do see the men out, right? Like, the men are at the bars, the men are at the games. The men are out as well, doing dude things, some of them. And so it's just kind of like, there's these huge question marks that fall, where other communities are looking at the black community and they're being like, so there's all these beautiful women over there who aren't choosing these dudes, and these dudes who don't actually have any women at all, or even the women that they are with are like dusties from these other communities. Like, the math isn't mathing, and it's not just like, at first we were all just having these conversations among ourselves. It was like black women kind of being like, oh yeah, they just don't get it. And now it's like a whole bunch of other men who have also gotten together, who've also seen it, and they're like, this is kind of nuts. This doesn't make sense. I feel like that's actually the part of the conversation I've been on for a while, where people look at me and they're like, I don't get it. And then I have to like break shit down, like, oh, well, this and 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 this, right? And so for me, a lot of people look at me and they think, oh my God, Olivia's nutty. Olivia's all kooky. She's so weird. She's the problem. And then they start to, as they unpack certain layers and they see the entire picture, they're like, oh my God, it's the community has a problem. And I think this really goes back to like society in itself having bigger problems, as in like, I've got to do a better job of providing concrete examples here, so that I can like pull you guys in, because I do feel like what I just said was this like roundabout way of like talking shit in a sense, and I didn't really say much of anything, but I did kind of make one point, and that point was like, there are larger issues in society. I, as an individual, am not equipped to solve all of the issues in society. I can speak to that one, right? And maybe I'll try to like make a better graph or a better actual model of what's happening. But if you were watching this video, I would like to challenge you, okay? Because here's one thing that I struggled with for a very long time. I struggled with finding my own voice. So I was looking into the internet sphere. I was looking out into my community. I was looking out into my life, and I was like, there are no people like me who just talk about regular shit and who are regular. You know, like, I've literally got my little house socks on. I've got, this is just a little $10, you know, sweater. I'm not fancy or snazzy at all. I'm recording on my iPad, right? And most of the time I just record on my iPhone with a tripod. It was a $10 setup, guys. This isn't some elaborate deal, okay? I would encourage you to look out in your life right now and think about one problem. one thing that you see in terms of like the adults around you, the old people, the young people, the corporations, the establishments, the businesses, the finance, wherever you are in the world, and think about what is the problem and how can I actually describe this problem in words. The problem that I've tried to describe right now is sort of modern day dating for black women and why it isn't ideal in America, kind of. Um, but I will also say this, it is a really big world. And for me personally, I'm a person who believes in the path of least resistance, which is another reason why I'm highly debating just kind of leaving America. Like, I honestly feel like the politics here have gotten so intricate and it's just gotten so complicated that like I no longer want to deal with it. Like I'm exhausted, okay? I'm exhausted. And like I just feel like there are other parts of the world where men are a lot more simple, okay, and they find value in pretty women like myself, and I would just rather spend time with those men, and that's that's kind of my life view. And I also feel like for myself, one thing that I've been running away from is just this baggage from other people, right? Like, I don't want the baggage from my family. I don't want the baggage from my exes. I don't want the baggage from friends. I don't want anyone else's baggage. I've got my own literal luggage right there in the closet, okay? Like, I've got my own baggage. I don't want anyone else's. Me, baggage, cannot deal with more. Yeah, all right. That was some shit talking for tonight, but